In just a few hours, the first results should be coming in here to the Iowa Democratic Caucus headquarters at the Convention Center. I'm Tom Hauser. I'll have a live eye report.
And the winter storm moves into central Iowa, making travel downright dangerous.
These stories, plus Ed will have our forecast, all the day's news coming up next.
Last year, over 50,000 women found families to adopt their unexpected children.
We have a daughter.
They decided instead of abortion to tough it out and bring their babies into the world. They held to their belief that nothing is more precious than human life. To all these mothers, the families who adopted these children would like to say, thank you. Life, what a beautiful choice.
Are you stuck in your present job with no real chance to get ahead? Discover the excitement of a career training in the medical field.
Call now for this National Education Center brochure. In just a few months, you could be helping a doctor with patients or running the front office.
Call now for this brochure. There are day and evening classes, flexible schedules, even keep your present job while you learn.
For a brochure on career training in the medical field, call 1-800-722-7337. 1-800-722-7337. Call now.
Amazing Blue Star ointment stops itching fast. Jock itch, ringworm, psoriasis, athlete's foot, and removes corns and calluses. Blue Star ointment, the one that's guaranteed. Ask for it.
You're watching WHO TV 13, your 24-hour news source. And now, Jim Strickland, Lori Groves, and Ed Wilson with tonight's forecast. This is Live at 5.
You're looking at a live picture from the Convention Center in Des Moines. In a matter of hours, this room will be tabulation central as numbers come flooding in and the presidential future of Tom Harkin will be answered. Good evening and welcome to Live at 5. Iowa's favorite son is hoping for a huge caucus victory tonight.
We have team coverage on the entire caucus process. Jim Strickland is standing by in Ames, where Senator Tom Harkin is about to address a crowd of supporters. Jim?
Lori and Kim, Tom Harkin has arrived here. He'll be taking the podium in just a couple of moments, and we're told that his speech will last about a half an hour. The bottom line of it, take these caucuses seriously. Get out there, show your support for Iowa's favorite son so the message gets back to New Hampshire.
All right, Jim, I'm Tom Hauser at the Des Moines Convention Center. The board back here has a bunch of zeros on it right now, but in just a few hours, the results will be coming in. Tom Harkin says he needs at least 60% to truly be considered a winner here. We'll be keeping track of that, and in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at his chances of reaching that 60%.
And what's the coffee shop chatter on caucuses? Some say it's just another Monday. I'm Mary Mills. I'll have that story.
All right. Thank you, Mary, very much. The caucuses begin at 7 o'clock tonight. There we go. But preparations have been underway for weeks. The Convention Center in downtown Des Moines has been transformed into Caucus Central. Here is where the numbers will be tabulated. Preliminary numbers are expected at around 8:30 tonight. Last-minute preparations also underway at the Hotel Savory. Here's where Senator Harkin's supporters will gather tonight. Harkin will watch the numbers come in from one of the suites here in the hotel. And Harkin says he needs an overwhelming victory, so he's been urging backers to turn out tonight. He spent the morning in Iowa City, where he spoke to students at the university.
Well, tonight Harkin is in Ames, where he is expected to address about 500 students. The message, take the caucuses seriously. News Center 13's Jim Strickland is standing by in Ames now. Let's see if we can hear from him. Jim?
Lori, the supporters have arrived in fairly substantial numbers here. They had prepared for about 500 of them. The senator has yet to speak, but it looks as though most of the seats will be filled by the time the senator does take the podium. We're told that's going to happen at about 10 after 5. This is the third college campus crowd he will have addressed today. He began the day at a high school in Dubuque, then went on to Iowa City and also spent some time at UNI in Cedar Falls before coming here to Ames. And then, of course, he will head down to the Savory, where he will declare a victory. Of course, the key there is whether he'll garner the 60% support of the caucus goers that his supporters say that he just needs to have in order to send a message to New Hampshire that Iowa supports its favorite son in this 1992 presidential race. Of course, again, the key, how much will Tom Harkin get from the support of these caucuses throughout the state? There are 2,500 of them. The message, Get out there and take it seriously. Don't just take it for granted and know that the senator is going to win and hang back. Again, the senator has yet to take the podium. We are told that he is here in Ames, and that is bound to be the message. I'm sure it will be a message that will inspire this crowd. It's an easy crowd to get up for that traditional Democratic message, one that you find on a college campus. The real doubters at this point appear still to be in New Hampshire, and Mr. Harkin needs the message here from Iowa to reach New Hampshire in a week's time.
All right. Thanks, Jim, very much. We'll check back with you later.
Although Senator Harkin faces no organized opposition here in Iowa, weekend polls show him trailing the rest of the presidential contenders in New Hampshire. Tom Harkin is 52 years old. He was born in Cumming, Iowa. He has 2 daughters and is Catholic. He is a second-term U.S. Senator and was a U.S. Congressman from 1975 to 1984. The front-runner in the Democratic race is Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton. Clinton, age 45, was born in Hope, Arkansas. He is married and has 1 daughter. He is of the Southern Baptist faith. Another contender showing strong gains in the final weeks before the New Hampshire primary is 50-year-old Paul Tsongas. He was born in Lowell, Massachusetts. He is married, has 3 daughters. He is Greek Orthodox. He was a U.S. Senator from 1979 to 1985 and a U.S. Congressman from 1975 to 1979.
Just how well must Tom Harkin do in tonight's caucuses to enhance his chances of winning the Democratic nomination? News Center 13's Tom Hauser is at the Convention Center with some answers for us. Tom?
Well, Kim, conventional wisdom says Harkin has to get at least 60% support at tonight's caucuses. That's better than any candidate has ever done in the Iowa caucuses. Jimmy Carter back in 1976 had just over 59%. And it was Harkin himself who set that lofty goal. So far, Tom Harkin likes what he sees. A lot of enthusiasm on his 3-day campaign blitz in Iowa.
And we're going to win the nomination of this party.
Harkin's confident of reaching that magical 60% at tonight's caucuses, and so is his national campaign director, who looks at the caucuses as a springboard in New Hampshire.
So I'm hopeful and optimistic that that will send a message loud and clear to New Hampshire and around the country that Tom Harkin is a very top-notch presidential candidate, and one that the people, as I say, who know him the best are giving a good boost on to New Hampshire.
Harkin has spent a lot of time and money campaigning in New Hampshire. However, most polls show him running 4th or 5th. But every chance he gets, he tells supporters there's a lot of New Hampshire voters who haven't made up their minds yet.
Up until about 10 days ago, about 80% of the people in New Hampshire were still undecided. That's when we started getting the message out.
And some voters in New Hampshire might make up their minds after seeing how Harkin does here in his home state. And there's no reason why he shouldn't do well. He faced no organized opposition in Iowa, and he might also benefit from the low turnout expected at the caucuses, because most of the people who show up are expected to be party regulars who will likely stand by their candidate. If Harkin does well, he could swing some votes his way in New Hampshire. And if he doesn't meet expectations here, his campaign trail may hit some bumps come New Hampshire.
So really, he needs to do well tonight, doesn't he, Tom?
He needs to. He needs to do extremely well, as I mentioned earlier, better than anyone else has ever done before in the Iowa caucuses.
Thank you, Tom Hauser, reporting from the Convention Center. Cameras, crowds, caucuses. It's bound to be the talk of the town tonight, right? Not quite, as News Center 13's Mary Mills found out.
Breakfast time at Hy-Vee. The early morning regulars were sipping coffee and reading the day's big news.
Indiana halts the Hawks rally.
Not the caucuses?
I'll read that later.
Yes, for many it was just another Monday, caucuses or not. Some weren't even sure if they'd tune in for results.
I don't go sleep in front of the TV in my recliner.
Still, others were gearing up for Campaign 92, namely the media. Outside the Savory, a slew of satellite trucks had staked out their space. But inside the Convention Center, the hub of caucus night activity, it was strangely silent, nothing like 4 years ago.
It was bedlam, with all the reporters and the individuals coming and going, a lot of activity.
Have him. Here at Harkin headquarters, it was hectic by comparison. Looking around this place, it looks like a tornado has swept through here, and in a way it has. This is it. This is the big campaign push before Decision 92.
We're afraid that people will say, well, you know, Tom's not really being challenged, so we don't really need to go to our caucus, but it's very important for folks to go out to those caucuses tonight.
2 hours and counting, and then, as they say, it's all up to voters. Mary Nels for Live at 5.
Now, Mary says that Harkin supporters had made close to 50,000 calls this past weekend.
Well, stay tuned to News Center 13 for complete coverage of the caucuses. Our team coverage continues tonight at 6. We'll have more live reports and a live interview with Tom Harkin. Tonight between 7 and 10, we'll have updated results for you during our hourly updates. And join us at 10 for complete caucus results and a live report from Harkin headquarters.
What started as kind of nasty weather on caucus day turned out to be not quite so bad.
Right. We can't complain.
No. Hi, Ed.
Really can't complain at all. Temperatures back up to near 40 degrees, right around 41 at 4 o'clock, and temperatures won't be too bad tonight. Still a bit above normal, but it will start to cool down for you tomorrow. Our first forecast for tonight shows temperatures right around 23 degrees, partly cloudy skies, a northerly wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now I'm where Tom was earlier. I'm at the convention center, and I will be taking a look behind the scenes at what goes on. There's lots of TV stations down here, satellite trucks parked outside. We'll be taking a behind-the-scenes look during our weather coming up in just a few moments.
As we know, Ed, people, it can look nice and smooth on the top, but they're paddling like the dickens underneath.
I just hope I don't mess them up while they're in the air. We'll see.
Never.
Thank you.
When Live at 5 continues, a jury in Indianapolis is deciding the fate of Mike Tyson. We'll have an update.
And the weekend snow caught many motorists off guard, causing several accidents in the metro. Stay with us.
What do you say? What do you say?
Burger King talked to some smart shoppers.
You gotta smell a bargain.
It's not the bargain, it's the hunt.
For just 99 cents at Burger King, you smart shoppers can get a different delicious entree every day of the week. Buy a medium fries or onion rings and a medium drink and get a mouth-watering entree for only 99 cents.
If it looks good and it fits, it's a bargain.
I snip them out and take them home. Right away at Burger King now.
This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Prairie Meadows, Statewide Productions proudly presents the Antique and Collector Spring Expo 92. Over 100 antique dealers from throughout the Midwest will pack Prairie Meadows with beautiful antiques and collector items. You'll see everything from antique furniture to baseball cards. Look over the large selection of books and antiques and save 20%. As a bonus, we'll give away a $25 gift certificate every hour during the show. Low admission, free parking, plenty of food, and plenty of bargains. Come to the Antique and Collector Spring Expo 92 this Friday through Sunday.
It is time now to announce our first two winners in our Grand Hotel ticket giveaway. Tonight's winners are Coralie Cherry of Des Moines and Jeannie Honden of Adel. Both ladies have won tickets to the Broadway musical Grand Hotel. Your tickets will be coming in the mail. We'll announce two more winners tomorrow on Live at 5.
What's happened to the quiet Mississippi River town of Davenport, Iowa?
The President's Riverboat Casino.
The President Riverboat Casino. Enjoy dockside sessions day and evening. For reservations, call 1-800-BOAT-711.
Your Dodge dealer announces a few lessons in life. There'll be turning points. You'll be thrown a lot of curves. And at times, you'll go your own way. That's why we built the Dodge full-size 250 4x4 and Dakota 4x4 pickups. Equipped with our new Magnum Series engines, they outpower and out-tow Ford, Chevy, and import pickups. So for every mountain you'll have to climb, there's a Dodge truck to get you over it. And that's a valuable lesson because life can be rough.
Welcome back to Live at 5. The Iowa caucus is not the only story making headlines around the nation. So is the Mike Tyson rape trial. The case has now gone to the jury. Before the jurors got the case, a prosecutor told the jury Tyson had used his fame to lure an 18-year-old woman to his room and that he attacked her. The defense countered that the Miss Black America contestant could have walked out when she saw Tyson in his underwear. Jury selection began today in the trial of a Virginia infertility doctor. Prosecutors say Cecil Jacobson impregnated up to 75 patients using his own sperm without their permission. Jacobson says he donated his sperm to boost pregnancy chances and to protect the women from AIDS. And the man whose books inspired people of all races to discover their ancestral heritage has died. Author Alex Haley passed away early this morning in a Seattle hospital. The exact cause of his death has not been released.
Police say repeated blows to the head killed an Ames woman. Preliminary autopsy results were released today. The partially clothed body of 40-year-old Tony Jean Bryant was found this weekend near railroad tracks in Ames. Bryant was a lab technician at the ISU Veterinary School. At this time, police don't have any suspects or leads, and they're asking for the public's help. The Sheridan man whose alleged drunk driving led to death on the roadway pleaded not guilty today in court. 32-year-old William Hoover is charged with vehicular homicide and 2 counts of child endangerment. Tonight, he remains in the Warren County Jail on bond. Hoover is charged in the head-on crash that killed Lester Daniel. Blood tests showed his blood alcohol was more than twice the legal limit. He was driving with his 2 children in his pickup.
The wintry weather that hit central Iowa over the weekend is being blamed for several accidents in the metro area. A Des Moines woman is in serious condition after losing control of her car on Army Post Road and slamming into a semi. Police say 26-year-old Terry Harding was driving this Toyota Celica last night when she was unable to stop, and she pinned her car under the semi. Harding is in serious condition tonight. Early this morning, the snow was coming down at a pretty good pace, making for some tricky travel conditions during the rush hour. By mid-morning, though, the temperatures warmed up and most of the snow just melted away.
Yeah, which made for a pretty nice day, a little bit sloppy out there on the roads.
That's right. But Ed Wilson is going to have all the details, aren't you, Ed?
That's right. A lot of melting going on today. Was a bit sloppy out there, and a little more chance of snow coming up in the middle of the week. We'll give you all the details when we come back live at the convention center. Stay tuned.
It's the little things that make a bank great.
There was a time several years ago when I looked right into Ben's eyes down at Hawkeye Bank and said, "Ben, I need help." A couple of weeks later, right here in my kitchen, we shook hands on the deal that saved my farm. It meant a lot to me. I asked him how I could ever repay him, and he said a 10th of each month would do just fine.
Hawkeye Banks of Iowa. It's the little things.
Advanced salon thinking from the salons of Vidal Sassoon. Vidal Sassoon conditioning rinse. It goes beyond traditional conditioners and helps protect hair too. First, it finds and conditions the damaged areas and goes on to help seal and protect hair overall. From heat, from styling, from the world. So your hair moves, shines, feels salon fabulous. Go beyond conditioning. Protect with Vidal Sassoon. Sassoon care for salon quality hair.
If you're in the market for the best sport utility vehicle, think twice before you buy. Ford Explorer passed all the rest to become the new leader, the best seller in its class. Think about comfort and cargo capacity. Ford Explorer provides more total room for passenger comfort and cargo capacity. Think about the competition. Ford Explorer outsells Jeep and Chevy combined. Think about value. Right now, save up to $1,900 on select Ford Explorers. See your local Ford dealer and prepare to be impressed.
I've got to sit down. My legs are killing me. It's these varicose veins.
Maybe now you'll listen to me and go to the Iowa Vein Center.
Iowa Vein Center offers men and women relief from the discomfort and pain brought on by varicose and spider veins. The treatments are virtually painless, are performed in our office, and are covered by many insurance companies. If varicose veins are keeping you from leading a full, natural life, call Iowa Vein Center today, 285-VEIN.
Welcome back to Live at 5. This is, of course, Caucus Day in Iowa, and down at the convention center, they'll be tabulating all the results. That's where our Ed Wilson is tonight.
He's got some behind-the-scene action.
That's right, and of course, the results won't be coming in here, they expect, until around 8:30 or so, but the TV stations and the satellite trucks are ready to go to put a picture up for the nation. We have Caucus on the right over here, and C-SPAN is on the left. Looks like they're real busy tonight, doesn't it? And we also have a C-SPAN picture over here we can look at. They've been showing Harkin this afternoon. And this is actually from Saturday, so they're running reruns on C-SPAN of Harkin. going to see enough Harkin here for quite a long time, it looks like. And, of course, the hopes are up that Harkin will do very, very well here. We'll have to wait a little bit later on. We'll be giving you reports all night. Well, we want to talk about the weather as well, give you a report on what's going on outdoors. Current conditions outside, not too bad, actually. We have a temperature right now, 38 degrees, a cloudy sky. We have the dew point right up to around 29 degrees, and the humidity is at 70%, northwesterly winds, and the barometric pressure is back on the rise. For the radar summary across the United States, a little bit of snow activity throughout sections of eastern Iowa back up into Illinois. Also, the Great Lakes picking up their fair share of snow today. Shower activity to the south of us. Temperatures today have been warm enough to melt off the snow that we received over the weekend. About an inch of snow, by the way. 14/100ths of an inch of snow since last night at 7 o'clock. So we are seeing, again, very warm conditions for this February, even though it feels a little cooler than what it was a week or so ago, up to 64 degrees for temperatures. Now, for the satellite loop, as we throw this into motion for you, you'll see the clearing skies that are going on out to the west of us. That clear sky will not quite make it into Iowa, though. We're expecting partly to mostly cloudy skies for tonight, right on into tomorrow, and temperatures will start to drop off tomorrow as a cold front moves through. There's the map for tomorrow. As we see that, you'll see the front pushing through the state of Iowa, cold air behind it, temperatures dropping down into the 20s for overnight lows tonight, only getting up to around 30 tomorrow, and then into the teens for overnight lows for the better part of the rest of the week. Now, for tonight's forecast, in central Iowa, we'll be looking for partly cloudy skies, 23 degrees the overnight low, northerly winds at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. Chilly temps on the rebound here in central Iowa. Now, for Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies, 31 for a daytime high, northeasterly winds at 10 to 15, and the chill is definitely back in the air. For our senior salutes tonight, we've got a couple of them. This is Myrtle Bernard. She is from Webster City, 90 years young. We wish her all the very best on her birthday. And Gretchen Gebers from Guthrie Center, 101 years young. Now, what you'll see tonight as we come live from the convention center will not be this area. This is actually behind the scenes. We want to take a little walking tour of what you'll see tonight. You'll see the big board over there, the caucus night board. Now, that's where our reporters will be, and that will show the returns for each one of the candidates as they come down tonight, sometime after 8:30. On this area, there's a KARE 11 station from Minneapolis. They just got done with a live shot. And over in this area, I saw him just a little while ago, was Jack Cafferty. I believe he's sitting down over here. Let's see if we can get him to wave at us. Of course, if you remember him from days gone by at WHO-TV, there he is right there, preparing his notes for tonight. Of course, he works in New York now, but is here for the caucus nights. So with that, we will give you all the details on the caucus evening here from the convention center. I won't be here, but I'll be here tomorrow to give you the weather. And with that, enjoy the evening.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ed.
Bye-bye.
An alarming number of drunk drivers in Polk County get off with no jail time and no fine, and thousands continue to drive illegally. Tomorrow night at 10, Jim Strickland begins a compelling series of reports where he goes undercover to track down convicted drunk drivers who are illegally on the road again. Watch as Jim confronts these drivers and learn why the crime of OWI is treated so leniently here in Polk County. On the Road Again begins tomorrow on News Center 13 at 10.
The Live at 5 Entertainment Report coming up next.
Today, we'll take you to an auction where all the items up for bid come from the Jackson family. Stay with us.
Hungry for a refreshing, healthful treat you can enjoy any time of year? Try delicious, easy-to-serve canned pears, sealed in their own natural juices. Canned pears, always ready to eat, always ready to enjoy.
As a registered dietitian, I bet you don't get enough fiber every day. I also bet you think high-fiber cereals don't taste good. Well, here's one that does. Fruit and Fiber. It's the only high-fiber cereal with this delicious combination of crispy bran flakes, fruit, nuts, and crunchy oat clusters. Try Fruit and Fiber, and I bet you'll be eating more fiber and liking it.
Post Fruit and Fiber cereal, the great-tasting way to get high fiber every day.
I'm Bob Kerr. Tonight on NBC Nightly News, Tom Brokaw live from Moscow in an exclusive interview with Mikhail and Raisa Gorbachev, their first television interview since his resignation. Also, we'll take you to New Hampshire, where the primary race is tightening up, especially for the Democrats. And there's a new crackdown at the U.S.-Mexican borders to keep illegal aliens out. All tonight on NBC.
For Des Moines General Hospital, I'm Jack Witzel with another Job Changers quiz. Yes or no? Will the healthcare industry become the nation's largest employer in the 1990s? My comments after this word from Alex Oponsky for Des Moines General Hospital. Alex?
Hello, Jack. Des Moines General Hospital is a modern medical facility ready to meet your medical needs. We offer the latest in patient care techniques, a respected teaching facility, and great career opportunity for full and part-time medical professionals. If your education or experience is in nursing, pharmacy, radiology, laboratory, or respiratory therapy, please call us at the Human Resource Department here at Des Moines General Hospital, 263-4843. Jack, in answer to your question, I'd have to say yes.
Well, Alex, that's right. Modern medicine has become a vast system of technology for both professional and support workers. Today, the medical field is exploding with many new support positions. It deserves your career consideration. For Des Moines General Hospital, I'm Jack Witzel.
He had 2 wives and 9 children, and he set off the longest siege in FBI history, based on a shocking true story in The Line of Duty, Siege at Marion, NBC Monday.
Welcome back to Live at 5. We understand Senator Tom Harkin has just taken the podium.
Yes, he's in Ames. Let's go to Ames now and hear what he has to say this evening.
Mike Noble, right over here. Let's hear from Mike. And our Story County Chair, Margot McNabb. Margot, thank you again for many years of help and work. Margot. Rosenberg here yet? Ralph Rosenberg, Senator Ralph Rosenberg. Well, what the heck? Let's give him a hand anyway. He's a great friend. Good job. And I did see Johnny Hammond, our state representative, a great friend, former neighbor Johnny Hammond. And Bill mentioned that Ruth had been elected county attorney here. Well, I want you to know the kind of Democrat Ruth is, too. When she left, she made sure that there was a county attorney to follow her, and that county attorney is still there, Mary Richards, and still a Democrat, too. And our present Secretary of State, who is now running for Congress in this district to take that seat that I used to have. And boy, am I going to be glad to see her in Washington, D.C. Elaine Baxter, right here.
Senator Harkin addressing a crowd in Ames. This is his last speech expected here in the state before the caucuses tonight. The senator has been making a sweep across the state all weekend. One final push, of course, before Democrats gather across the state tonight to choose their delegates.
And would you join me in thanking my county coordinators, Jan Bauer and Linda Steensland and George McJimsey. Thank you all very, very much for doing my coordinators. Well, it's nice to be home. This is my alma mater. It's great to be back at Iowa State. We've toured campuses today. We started at the University of Dubuque. We went to that other place down in Iowa City, University of Iowa, and then up to UNI and here. And this is the biggest crowd.
The senator addressing students in Ames again. He's now saying the largest crowd that he's seen all day. This is his last stop before the caucuses tonight.
And we've got a lot going on. Live at 5 continues right after this break.
People like Wendy's 99-cent super value menu for 2 good reasons. Good food and good price. Like Wendy's country fried steak. It's lightly breaded and cooked to a golden brown. Then served up with lettuce and mayonnaise for just 99 cents. Plus, when you add a Biggie drink and Biggie fries, each just 99 cents, you've got a great meal. It's all from Wendy's super value menu. Good food at a good price. Sounds good to me.
Wendy's 99-cent super value menu, the best food for your money.
Try something different. Chicken brushed with LaChoy soy sauce. LaChoy makes a good thing better.
When you buy your waterbed from Big Sur, it's like buying directly from the factory, because Big Sur owns the factory. It's how he keeps quality high and the price is so low. Imagine a complete solid wood waterbed for just $139.99 in your choice of sizes. This Shiloh waterbed with lots of storage space is only $159.99, or the Scottsdale with bookcase headboard and detailed mirror is just $175.99. Factory direct savings from Big Sur Waterbeds, 3715 Merle Hay Road at Douglas in Des Moines.
Play the TV13 Wheel Deal and you could win a fabulous prize. Your local Midas shop is making low-cost car seats available through Project Safe Baby. To celebrate, Midas is giving away a $100 gift certificate to the Wheel Deal winner. Good at your nearest Midas shop. Midas, keeping you and your family safe in your car. To win, watch Wheel of Fortune weeknights at 6:30. When you see the Wheel Deal on your screen, be the 13th caller with the right answer. Watch Wheel of Fortune on TV13 and win.
Let's go to the newsroom now for an update on what's coming up tonight at 6. John?
Thank you, Kim. We're going to have much more, of course, in our continuing caucus coverage, including a live interview with Senator Harkin. We'll look at what seems to be a lack of interest in the caucuses this time around, and we'll have a live interview from a caucus site, and maybe we'll be able to prompt some more interest in all this.
1992 caucuses certainly can't hold a candle to the big event in 1988. It is still an exciting process.
Absolutely. Let's go back to Tom Hauser at the convention center where things are starting to happen, aren't they, Tom?
Well, Kim, they are. It's a little quiet here still right now, but in just a couple of hours, this place is going to start hopping. This is the Democratic Caucus headquarters where they're going to be tabulating.
The accomplished singer talks about her career and her most recent album, Set the Night to Music. Join us for Live at 5.
That is in the entertainment report. That should be exciting. Time now for NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. He is in Moscow. Have a good night.
A massive shipment of Western aid arrives in Moscow as Mikhail and Raisa Gorbachev give their first American interview since the resignation.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from Moscow with Jane Pauley in New York.
Good evening from Moscow, where today Western cargo planes loaded with Western aid arrived in this economically beleaguered nation. And as the planes arrived, Mikhail Gorbachev told NBC News that economic reforms here are struggling because the new Commonwealth of Republics still is too divided. In Germany, Secretary of State Baker inspected the tons of American food and medical supplies headed for the former Soviet republics. The airlift is part of the international relief effort called Operation Provide Hope. The aid today was sent from Germany's Rhine-Main Air Base. That was the staging ground for the Berlin airlift more than 40 years ago. Former Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev says this aid is desperately needed.
I would take a very serious attitude. I think that this might be indeed the most critical moment for the country. The most critical moment for economic reform. And this affects the overall situation in a very substantial way, because the economy is something that affects every family and every citizen of the country. And I wouldn't say that these measures and these reforms are being undertaken in the best possible way.
We'll hear more from Gorbachev and from Raisa later in the program. He has a lot to say about the Russian economy, his political plans, and the loss of power. As for this Western aid that arrived today, the U.S. ambassador here, Robert Strauss, said it is important, but it's only a drop in the bucket. As NBC's Bob Abernathy tells us tonight, the needs of this nation go well beyond emergency airlifts.
The 75 tons of leftover food from the Gulf War will be enough in Moscow for 100,000 meals for the poor and elderly.
Okay, what do we have here?
Lasagna, pancake mix, and apple pie filling may not be everyday Russian fare, but it can help. Humanitarian aid is essential and welcome, but if this country is going to get on its feet and become a vast new market for the West, the even greater need is private investment. Rebuilding post-communist Russia is an enormous task, as John Ruther knows. He's an American developer here who's bullish on Russia in spite of its problems.
I like the people, I like working with them, and we can make a profit together here.
Ruther's development is almost finished, even though he must do without almost everything investors need. Reliable communications, rules of property ownership, a banking system, and a ruble that can be exchanged for dollars. In Paris last week, Boris Yeltsin warned if the West doesn't do more to help Russia solve these problems, a dictator might come to power.
But the U.S. is wary.
If I had $10 billion to spend today of U.S. government money or Western money, I wouldn't know how to spend it intelligently and wisely and prudently, and neither does the U.S. government or the Russian government.
The Germans, on the other hand, are taking the plunge. Mercedes has just put $1.3 million into this new shop in Moscow. The Germans are teaching Russians not only how to align wheels, but with these future saleswomen, how to take initiative and to be friendly. Even in needy Moscow, enough Westerners and Russians are rich enough, so last week Mercedes took orders in Western currency for 40 cars. Bob Abernethy, NBC News, Moscow. There is social as well as economic chaos in this country. Just as abortion is a controversial fact of life in America, it is commonplace in Russia as well. So commonplace, it is symptomatic of a society out of balance. That's the case in remote Siberia, where NBC's Jim Maseda visited the city of Krasnoyarsk.
City Hospital number 4. It's the only clinic in town guaranteeing an abortion with an anesthetic, at least for now. When supplies do run out, there's little chance international aid will make a difference. This is deepest Siberia, not Moscow.
It's embarrassing. We have qualified people but no equipment, no means. It's like a war, and we're at the front.
Doctors here say they are losing that war. Abortion has become a way of life. So Hospital 4 has opted for comfort. Down to the disco music in the waiting room. And speed, in at 8 a.m., out by late afternoon. The operation is as commonplace as going to the market. The average Russian woman will have at least 5 abortions, and here in Siberia, 20, even 30 abortions is not uncommon. Lena Cherkasova has just had her second. She's 18, single, one of hundreds of women, usually young, who file through every week.
It's easier to have an abortion than to have the child suffer and to suffer yourself. You can't even buy candy for a child. They do it without any heart. It's like the way they treat a piece of fabric at work. Emotionless. A piece of metal is just a piece of metal.
Tatiana Polikovskaya is 30, married with 2 children. This is her 8th abortion.
This was the first time the painkiller worked. The other times it wore off too quickly.
There are few alternatives. Condoms are defective, IUDs scarce, the pill primitive with violent side effects, and all are expensive. Sex education is rare, and few question ending a pregnancy to make their lives more livable.
Aborting a pregnancy is immoral, uncivilized. But we have to help people with their problems. We don't have time to think about morality.
Most hope that when life gets better, women will want to keep their children. But until then, the abortion line at Hospital 4 will grow. More women will wait for their number to be called. Jim Maseda, NBC News, Krasnoyarsk, Siberia.
I'll be back with more from Moscow later in the program, and Jane Pauley will have more news from New York in a moment.
To doctor a cough, you have to keep up with the latest medicine for your family. Like new Robitussin cough drops from the people whose cough medicine is recommended by more doctors and pharmacists.
Try this, it's new.
Robitussin cough drops have an active ingredient that speeds relief right to your cough to soothe and medicate.
Excuse me, try this. It's new.
New Robitussin cough drops. Cough drops from the cough experts.
Do you have a cold? Yes, I do have a cold. Here's 2 cold medicines. This relieves these 3 symptoms, this 9. Choose one.
I would use this one.
Why?
That's my cold. The fever, the headaches, the sinus congestion.
Here's what you chose.
I'm totally amazed.
Would you try Dristan Cold?
Absolutely.
How do you feel?
I feel amazingly good.
And for hot, soothing relief when the flu hits, try new Dristan Cold and Flu.
More fuel added to the fire today in the controversy over the safety of silicone breast implants.
Dow Corning released internal memos that indicate for 20 years the company was aware of potential problems with the implants. NBC's Robert Hager.
Dow Corning is the leading manufacturer of silicone breast implants. Today, its release of more than 100 secret company memos came only after the Food and Drug Administration insisted that the public has a right to know. The documents showed Dow Corning kept a record of nearly 900 reports of problems during the 1980s, all the while telling doctors the implants were safe. These problems include shrinking of the implant casing, which causes the implant to become round, hardening and development of scar tissue, slow leaking of the gel, which some fear damages the body's immune system, and sudden breaking. One doctor described finding a pool of silicone in his patient's body like 50-weight motor oil. Years ago, a Dow salesman complained to his bosses about putting questionable implants on the market. The salesman said it was inexcusable and had to rank right up there with the Pinto gas tank. And after a lot of doctors complained they could tell the implants leaked by their oily feeling fresh out of the package, Dow Corning instructed its salespeople to wash the implants with soap and water in the nearest washroom before showing them to surgeons. But today, Dow Corning said the memos are out of context and unscientific.
In our estimation, the science supports the safety and the effectiveness of silicone breast implants.
But Sybil Goldrich, a California woman who had 2 implants rupture, said today's memos show cover-up.
They've done a terrible thing. If they knew and they didn't say anything about it, they ruined my life. They ruined many other women's lives. Shame on them.
Tonight, the controversy took its toll on Dow Corning, that company's board ousting both its chairman and CEO and instructing their replacement to devote full time to the silicone issue. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
The Immigration and Naturalization Service is cracking down on a problem along the Mexican border. More than 1 million undocumented aliens will be arrested this year, as hard times have driven people to desperate lengths to evade border police. More from NBC's Diana Karicki.
This is how desperate the race to enter the United States has become. At the San Isidro border crossing south of San Diego, by day and night, migrants dash past guards into oncoming traffic. Incredibly, no one has been hurt. After a drop in the mid-'80s, the number of people entering the U.S. illegally is again on the rise.
We see people crashing in the back door and the back windows, violating our laws, flouting our sovereignty, and ignoring our process.
Barr swore in new Border Patrol agents and announced hundreds more will be hired. Agents will use military vehicles from the Gulf War to patrol the border, and a new fence will be extended and wired with high-tech lighting and sensors. But people have always managed to sneak in, driven by poverty and inflation in their home countries.
A lot of people is going to San Diego, Angeles, Fresno, Stockton.
At the Our Lady of the Angels Church in Los Angeles, Father Albert Vasquez gives sandwiches to migrants, some here legally, some not. He feeds more people every month.
They still feel that it's not better over here, regardless, recession or not, than the poverty they have back home.
The new crackdown will hit hard at illegal aliens suspected of drug trafficking. Many will end up deported faster than before. And employers who hire for day work will be under more pressure to make sure their laborers have legal work permits, not forged documents. But authorities admit these latest measures will not halt the flow of people desperate for a better life. Diana Karicki, NBC News, Los Angeles.
More of Tom's interview with Mikhail Gorbachev after this.
Ask Angela Lansbury about aspirin-free Bufferin AF Nighttime.
Angela, what's this? Bufferin AF Nighttime? Yes, it's from the makers of Bufferin, for when you feel achy at night and you're having trouble getting to sleep. It's for both problems? Uh-huh. Bufferin AF Nighttime should really help. You see, it's a maximum strength aspirin-free pain reliever plus a gentle non-prescription ingredient to help you get to sleep.
Bufferin AF Nighttime helps put pain and you to sleep.
Oh no, my hair's not only going gray, now it's getting thinner. I wish they made something for gray thinning hair.
They have Grecian Plus. Grecian Plus is a fresh-smelling foam that gradually brings back natural-looking color, the famous Grecian way. But this Grecian has a big plus. It builds body for healthier, fuller-looking hair.
Your hair looks great. Feels thicker, too.
Grecian Plus, the total treatment for gray thinning hair.
Campbell's heard your healthy requests.
Low fat.
Less salt.
But lots of taste.
Here's our answer. New Campbell's Healthy Request ready-to-serve soups. All the great taste you want without some things you don't. New Campbell's Healthy Request. And healthy.
Now's the time for Centrum Silver, because you're over 50 and you're out there swinging. Centrum Silver, a complete vitamin formula for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
Mikhail Gorbachev has just reemerged following his forced resignation at the end of December, and characteristically, he still has a lot to say, although he does seem to be more subdued now. When I met him today at his Moscow Foundation, a Russian think tank, a surprise. He was accompanied by Mrs. Gorbachev, Raisa. This was a rare public appearance for Raisa Gorbachev since the August coup, which was so traumatic she became ill. She told me she's better now, but friends say she still talks about that bitter experience constantly. Today, however, she wanted to show solidarity with the Russian people.
There's lots of difficulties, a lot of troubles, and that's for everybody. That's my vision of it. Everyone who is healthy and in his right mind should feel this way. And we cannot be an exception to this rule.
For his part, Mikhail Gorbachev is concerned about talk of an economic emergency, a crackdown to deal with the chaos.
I hope that everything will be done in order to avoid introducing a state of emergency, because after an economic emergency would follow a general emergency in the country, and that might lead to a form of power, a form of authority that would be inconsistent with the very idea of perestroika, and that would be something quite different than democratization. Some authoritarian measures might be necessary in a difficult situation when strict executive authority is necessary, but I would rule out dictatorship.
When I saw you in August, right after the coup, you told me that the Soviet Union is not like a pie. You can't cut it into pieces.
They are trying now to carve the country, but things are happening against which I warned, and my prophecies are coming true too soon. I'm saying that my colleagues, the policymakers, are really wasting time. They should be at work every day. Many people don't understand that they will not live in one single country. I don't want to have to choose between the Union or the Commonwealth. What I want to emphasize is the need for cooperation.
Last week in Paris, Boris Yeltsin said that you had given a personal pledge, or that you had volunteered not to become involved in politics again. Is that true?
I will not engage in any opposition activities so long as President Yeltsin and his government promote democracy and reform. If, however, the president changes course, then I will have to think the situation over and to develop a position.
Do you trust Boris Yeltsin?
There is a certain residual feeling on my part. We cooperated in a very important way, and then suddenly the president of Russia changed track, changed course in an abrupt way. That really worries me very much.
Do you ever drive by the Kremlin now and look to it and wonder, if I had just moved more quickly to the democratic forces, I could still be there?
All is yet ahead. It may be an enigmatic answer, but there must be some mystery in our conversation.
In the United States, we take very good care of our ex-presidents. Do you have the means that you need to continue your work and to provide for your family?
Everything is okay. And I think it would be really absurd now for me, immoral for me, to speak of any problems on my part when I see the difficulty and the needy situation of many people in my country.
I'll be back later with the new American look in Moscow. And Jane Pauley will have the latest on American presidential politics in a moment.
Cutbacks continue. Recession. Politicians. Crime. Pollution.
Daycare. Not having any time.
Job insecurity.
You never needed it more. A new extra-strength pain reliever made to get today's tough headaches before they really get you. 1,000 milligrams, stomach guard, and the name there. That should ease your mind. Introducing new extra-strength Bayer Plus. Now there's no pain you can't bear.
With its powerful 16-valve engine, double wishbone suspension system, anti-lock brakes, and a driver's side airbag, don't just think of it as a wagon. Think of it as an Accord, with a bit more space.
Special Accord leases are now available. See your nearest Honda dealer for details.
Aha! So that's what happened to Dad's Kraft-free singles.
What free singles?
The fat-free kind. Helps Dad watch his fat and cholesterol.
Haven't seen them. Besides, we like them.
Sorry, campers, but these are different. See? Kraft-free means fat-free. For Dad.
Aha!
Oh, we'll save him some. Any bread in this?
Kraft-free singles. Flavor like that without the fat.
Flu epidemic declared. Entire U.S. affected. What will you do? Doctors recommend Theraflu, hot liquid medicine that works fast. Theraflu, strong therapy for flu symptoms.
Whirlpool thinks a great dishwasher is one you're hardly aware of. Built to quietly do its job for years so it seems all but invisible. If you want a dishwasher so well built you don't have to think about it, think about Whirlpool.
The Iowa caucuses are tonight, but without much of a contest there. Attention centers on next week's New Hampshire primary. Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton was back in New Hampshire today. He's trying to regain his lead in the polls, lost following a barrage of news reports, raising questions of character. NBC's Lisa Myers is with Clinton.
Today, Bill Clinton sounded like a candidate who thinks he's in trouble.
I just have one thing to say about the next 8 days. I'm going to fight like hell. But I'm going to fight for the people of New Hampshire, the future of this economy, and the soul and direction of this country.
He dealt with growing concerns about his character by trying to change the subject to what he called the real issues.
How to give our children a world-class education. How to solve the real problems of real people.
A weekend poll shows Clinton and former Massachusetts Senator Paul Tsongas dead even, each with 28% of the vote. Perhaps more troubling for Clinton, less than a third of his own supporters considered him the most truthful and honest candidate. Clinton's slip was triggered by charges last week that he avoided the military draft, which he denies.
Did I do anything illegal or wrong? I did not.
But the seeds were sown earlier, with Jennifer Flowers' allegations of a prolonged extramarital affair. New Hampshire voters who knew Clinton gave him the benefit of the doubt about that, even as his unfavorable rating jumped in the rest of the country. But in recent days, after the draft story reinforced questions about his character, the damage began to show.
Well, I think it's a big morals question. I think it's very important for people to be able to believe what he's saying.
I'm concerned like everyone about, what's the next thing?
The candidate perfectly positioned to benefit from all this? Paul Tsongas, who's suddenly drawing overflow crowds.
What was it they said this morning, that being uncharismatic was now chic?
Tsongas' no-frills, no-nonsense campaign is in some ways the antithesis of Clinton's broad-based, highly packaged appeal, which some see as slick. Clinton's ace in the hole has always been electability, the perception that he would be strongest against George Bush. But weekend polls show that Clinton or Tsongas could beat Bush in New Hampshire. Clinton is a candidate with a cloud over his head. The next 8 days will be critical. More than half the voters say they could change their minds between now and the primary. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Manchester.
On Nightly News last night, in a report about the New Hampshire economy, we implied that the Bank of New Hampshire had gone under or had been taken over by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Neither is the case. Alex Haley died of a heart attack today, the creator of Roots. the story of his family history from Africa to slavery to freedom. His book became the most watched television miniseries in history.
I wasn't due for another 2 weeks. Suddenly there I was, having a cesarean. David was wonderful. And when it was all over, I had this perfect little person. In a lot of pain. Later I was kind of surprised when the doctor gave me Tylenol, with all the other choices they have, but the Tylenol made me feel better, so I could put my mind on more important things.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
There's lots of ways to have garlic. The Kwai difference is the consistency of garlic qualities of this easy-to-swallow tablet. There's no better way to have garlic than odor-free Kwai.
I've heard a lot about garlic. Kwai is odor-free and so easy to swallow.
Kwai is available at quality drugstores, health and natural food stores, and general nutrition centers.
It's the best, and it's odor-free.
Kwai, science and nature working for you.
If this were a perfect world, we'd all be driving expensive cars and living on beachfront property. But in the real world, you have to eat. Well, you can eat tuna once in a while. And you have to buy stuff like socks and shoes and CDs. Well, maybe not so many CDs. Fortunately, the people of Isuzu have to buy stuff too. That's why they created the Rodeo, a four-wheel drive vehicle you can afford, and why they'll give you a great deal on a sound system and air conditioning. So now, you can buy more stuff. Oh, we forgot to mention taxes.
The glorious freshness of mint. Nobody knows it better than Polidin. That's why there's a splash of mint in every Polidin tablet to leave your dentures feeling gloriously clean and fresh. Get super strength Polidin with a splash of mint.
A bowl of Quaker Oats costs about 1 nickel and 4 pennies. But the main thing isn't how little you spend, it's how much you get. You get enough hot, steaming nourishment to help keep you running strong all morning. Quaker Oats. It's the right thing to do.
As the Iron Curtain comes crashing down around what used to be the Soviet Union, the citizens of this country are getting a taste of something new. American pop culture. Movies, radio, music, advertising, and of course junk food. But where does that leave the Russian culture? NBC's Veronica Kilchevskaya.
This is Pushkin Square in downtown Moscow. Pushkin has always been the greatest cultural figure for Russia. I can still remember by heart his poems that we read at school. But take a look around Moscow these days and you can see that things are changing.
It's 4 o'clock in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Good afternoon. You're tuned to Radio Rocks. Currently in Moscow it is -1 degree Celsius.
Russian TV just broadcast a week of Warner Brothers films. The Portos were glued to their sets.
American films are so much better. My kids have already forgotten about Russian cinema.
For centuries, a struggle has taken place for the heart of Russia between those who want to welcome in the West and those who fear this will smother the values and traditions of Russia.
You cannot forget Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, just to substitute the Russian culture by American culture. No.
Like many Russians, Genrik Borovik fears a sellout to what he sees as American junk culture.
I'm worried very much because I think we will lose at least one generation, at least, maybe 2 generations, in this kitsch culture.
The point isn't to advertise.
Craig Cohen is a Moscow representative for America's most famous export, Coca-Cola. How does he see his role in bringing part of American culture to Russia?
I think there's 2 ways to approach this country. One is to be a pirate and come in here and try to pillage the land. And the other is to be a pioneer. And I'd like to consider myself in the second category.
So how can Americans bring their culture here and not destroy what Russians are proud of?
I think what you need to do is come to Russia, understand it, and only develop a genuine mutual blending of the cultures. Not to just impose American culture. That's not what we do.
Craig thinks like many Russians. We welcome American culture, but only if it enriches rather than replaces what we value already. Veronica Kilchevskaya, NBC News, Moscow.
That's nightly news for this Monday night from Moscow. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you from New York tomorrow night with part 2 of the Gorbachev interview. His thoughts on Saddam Hussein, Fidel Castro, and who won the Cold War. I'll see you then.
Up next from your 24-hour news source, in a few hours, this tote board will show returns on the first-in-the-nation presidential selection process.
Tom Harkin's just finished addressing a campaign rally here in Ames, and now they're passing the buckets to try to get him some monetary support. We'll have a live interview with the senator coming up.
And our political expert will tell us what Tom Harkin needs to claim victory tonight. That's all just ahead.
Last year, over 50,000 women found families to adopt their unexpected children.
We have a daughter.
They decided instead of abortion to tough it out and bring their babies into the world. They held to their belief that nothing is more precious than human life. To all these mothers, the families who adopted these children would like to say, thank you. Life, what a beautiful choice.
Working to be #1.
The styles, the models, the choice. The 92 Chevrolets at Carl Chevrolet Geo. The power, the selection, the right size 1992 Chevy truck for the right job. The fun, the economy, the looks of Geo for 92. The inventory, the price. At your dealer for Chevrolet cars and trucks.
Ankeny, exit 90 off I-35. Carl Chevrolet Geo.
I lost my weight with Weight Watchers years ago, but this new plan they've got, it's really something. It's called Quick Control. It's simple and it's pre-planned and it's all written down by day. From day 1, you're ready to go. There's so little weighing or measuring. This is not a hassle. It's great. It's simple to follow. It puts you in control right from the start.
Last week to join Weight Watchers for only $10. That's a $16 savings. Offer ends Saturday, so hurry and call 1-800-228-2315 now.
Live from WHO TV 13, where the news comes first 24 hours a day. John Bachman, Kim Kerrigan, Rick Silvestrini with sports, and meteorologist Gary Amble with the weather. This is News Center 13 at 6.
A television satellite truck points its dish to the sky, ready to report tonight on the Iowa caucuses. But the big story is no story because of the one-horse race created by Tom Harkin. Good evening. Tonight, the presidential selection process begins.
In less than an hour, the Iowa caucuses will begin. Our team coverage begins with a look at the hectic last-minute preparations around the city today. Workers were bringing in hundreds of tables to the convention center for the night. TV crews have cameras ready to roll on the results from the big caucus board. Harkin volunteers working at a fever pitch this afternoon trying to ensure a big turnout for Tom Harkin. Too many undecided votes tonight could spell disaster for the senator. And cabinet member Jack Kemp came to Des Moines today to fire up Republicans. He says the GOP's lack of campaigning in Iowa will not damage the party next fall, and he predicted President Bush will campaign heavily in Iowa before the general election.
Presidential hopeful and favorite son Tom Harkin spent the last 3 days on a whirlwind campaign swing through the state, wrapping things up about 30 minutes ago at a rally in Ames.
This is the one, my friends. This is the one, and it starts here, and it starts tonight in our caucuses. It's going to send a signal to the rest of the country and the rest of the world that we are going to throw out the old and we're going to bring in the new with a progressive Democratic president next year.
For all intents and purposes, the caucus campaign in Iowa is over for Tom Harkin.
Tonight at about 10 o'clock, he will address supporters at a rally in Des Moines, but right now he is with News Center 13's Jim Strickland in Ames. Jim?
John standing here live with the winner of the Iowa caucuses, Tom Harkin. Hard to say that any other time before the caucuses actually go on. Senator, I'm told by your staff 60% is what you need to really give you a big, strong push. What exactly will it do for you in New Hampshire to win big here?
Well, I don't get caught up in the numbers game, but I do feel that we're going to win big here in Iowa. Because I've worked with people here. They know who I am, and they know my values, and we share those values. And I believe these are the values of hard work and strong families, faith in our God and love of our country, and a care and concern for others. These are the values that we have to take out on this campaign trail.
A lot of folks in New Hampshire may not be receiving that message. Your best polling is 4th, perhaps. There's one poll out today, 5th. Who isn't listening?
Well, you know, you can't worry about these polls. Mark Twain once said, if you don't like the weather in New England, just stick around for 10 minutes, it'll change. Yesterday, I had a poll that showed me at 17%. So who knows? All I'm telling you is the foundation has been laid. We have more volunteers. I have twice as many delegates slated. And I'll tell you, this is what's important about Iowa. There are twice as many delegates from Iowa as there is from New Hampshire. Okay? Keep that in mind. This is an important state.
Still, New Hampshire, you can't win the presidency in recent history without winning New Hampshire first. Do you have to win New Hampshire?
No, but I'm going to do well. Believe me. There's going to be a lot of surprises come out of New Hampshire. Believe me, that's going to happen next week. But you don't have to win it, no. But I want to win Iowa, take the delegates from here, go on to South Dakota, and then go on to some of our bigger states like Ohio, Washington State, Maryland, and places like that.
Talk to me about fundraising. Are you still getting the support that you were early on?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm second in fundraising. I've got more individual contributors than any other candidate. My average contribution is less than $50. This is a grassroots campaign, and it's still coming in.
Iowa Senator Tom Harkin, good luck, sir, tonight.
Thank you very much.
Let's go now to Scott Pope, who's standing by at the caucus site at Central Campus. Scott?
Jim, actually, there's 5 or 6 precincts being held here at the old Tech High. This is the Tech High cafeteria, but in about an hour and a half, it will become Precinct Caucus number 67. There will be 2,573 caucuses around the state, just like this one. Registered Democrats and Republicans will come here to select delegates to their county convention. Once those delegates are selected, they will meet again in a few weeks to select state delegates. From there, they will pick the 57 delegates that Senator Harkin referred to. They will head off to the National Democratic Convention in New York. It's kind of strange how this whole system works. What the delegates do is they'll come here tonight, they'll break up into groups supporting each of the 5 or 6 candidates. Any group that has less than 15% of the total will be asked to break up and join another group. That plays in Senator Harkin's favor, and that's why a number of the candidates have decided to stay away from the Iowa caucuses tonight. They say Senator Harkin will be just too much to overcome. Very little activity around Central Campus tonight, but we expect that to be changing very soon. We'll have continuing coverage from the precinct caucuses, the Savory, all over town tonight, coming up later on in the newscast and tonight. Jim? John? Kim, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
As Scott mentioned, the 1992 Iowa caucus is drawing much less attention than in years past.
But News Center 13's Kathy Soltero reports party leaders don't want that to discourage people from attending.
It's been a typical campaign with lots of handouts, handshakes, and hype.
Win the nomination as party.
But very few people are expected to attend the big event.
We've gone the last couple times, the last couple years, but I guess the interest just isn't there as much.
That's a prevailing attitude. Blame it on Tom Harkin, blame it on the lack of political interest. People just don't care.
I don't see a whole lot of choices in the Iowa caucuses, so I don't plan to attend this year.
Just to give you an idea how they are preparing for fewer people, in the caucus of 1988, this entire room was used by the media while they were tabulating votes. And as you can see, now they're only using about a third of it.
It is smaller, but still there's a lot of work that has to go on.
In 1988, about 120,000 people attended caucuses. This year, they're only expecting between 19 to 30,000. And Iowa Republicans aren't expecting much more.
So yes, attendance may be slightly less than last time, but we hope that most Republicans will in fact show up for their precinct caucuses.
In Des Moines, Kathy Soltero, News Center 13.
Iowa's top Republican doing his part to encourage people to take part in the caucuses. Today, Governor Branstad tried to build up the role caucuses play in the presidential process.
I'm hopeful we will get a good turnout, and I realize that Iowa has not received the attention of previous years, but the caucuses are the first step in the presidential nomination process. They're also the first step in electing people to serve in important positions within the political parties.
Branstad says that he will take part in the Republican caucus tonight in support of President Bush. Political analysts say Senator Tom Harkin has everything to lose and not much to win here in Iowa.
Still, Harkin is set on winning bigger tonight than anyone in the past. Drake political professor Hugh Weinbrenner joins us from the newsroom. Dr. Weinbrenner, Senator Harkin is talking about a 60% win here in Iowa. Will he be able to capture such a large margin?
Kim, with no candidates in the state, with no campaign organizations, with the party rules favoring him, and with a projected low turnout, I think the stage is set for a big Harkin win tonight.
Hugh, he was playing down in his interview with Jim Strickland. Those polls out in New Hampshire show him 4th or 5th. What about you? Do you take much importance in those polls?
I think the polls are probably very inaccurate at this stage of the game, but they're setting him up in a good position in New Hampshire as a dark horse. And you can't lose as a dark horse. You can only win.
And Hugh, what's going to happen if maybe it's not as big a win here in Iowa for the future of his presidential campaign?
That would be very disastrous. I think if he falls below 55%, he'll have a very difficult time. The headlines tomorrow will be screaming, Harkin fails to meet expectations in Iowa.
Does he have to win New Hampshire? In his response to Jim Strickland, he said he doesn't.
No, I don't think he has to win in New Hampshire to go on. I think he must do better than Senator Bob Kerrey, however. I don't think two Midwest senators can go on very long.
Hugh, some viewers may not be aware of why we've reached the 60% figure. It seems to be common wisdom, but it goes back to 1980 and Jimmy Carter, doesn't it?
Yes, Senator Harkin's own campaign staff said that we must do better than anyone has ever done in Iowa, and that was then candidate Carter in 1980, who had actually 1980 had 59%. So they set the expectations for themselves.
Okay, thank you very much. Hugh Weinbrenner from Drake University, our political analyst.
Our caucus coverage continues throughout the evening here on News Center 13. At the top of each hour, we'll have live updates from caucus sites and the convention center where results are being tabulated. And we'll bring you the updated results as they come in. Then at 10, a live report from Harkin headquarters where the senator is expected to deliver a reaction speech. For the best caucus coverage, stay with News Center 13.
Up next, the trial gets underway for another suspect in last summer's Adele double homicide.
Authorities in Ames still searching for clues in the weekend beating death of a 40-year-old woman.
And a return of winter brings a rash of accidents the last 24 hours, including 2 fatalities. Details next.
Hey, Des Moines, you need hard water zest.
It's hard to get clean in hard water, and you're in a hard water town. Clean with hard water zest, and you'll know what we mean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Hard water zest was made for hard water. Soap leaves a film behind, but zest rinses clean. No film on your skin.
No ring in your tub.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
When you call Casey's for a fresh-baked, piping hot homemade pizza to go, it gets plopped, rolled, plopped, chopped, sliced, diced, spread, sprinkled, smothered, baked, cut, and boxed, just in time for you to pick it up. And during February, get a large Casey's pepperoni pizza for just $5.99. When you think homemade pizza to go, think Casey's. Expensive tasting, but refills of freshly brewed Folgers coffee are still only a dime at Casey's. When you think hot coffee, think Casey's.
Your Dodge dealer announces a few lessons in life. There'll be turning points. You'll be thrown a lot of curves. And at times, you'll go your own way. That's why we built the Dodge full-size 250 4x4 and Dakota 4x4.